Hey everybody, how's it going? It's Andrew coming to you with a new video early in September. In the last tail end of summer, I'm here in the country visiting some family before I land on the West Coast, and it is so nice to be in this quiet, still place, especially after the rowdy insanity of being back in New York for several months. And it's been a really, really interesting journey, especially over the past month. I've been in this phase of really deep integration and deep embodiment. And the questions that I have and the discussion that I want to have with you today and the things that I want to share with you today have been something that have been on my mind for about a month. About a month ago, I had this thought and I had this awareness that came to me and this clarity, and I just got this moment of clarity and this message that said, stop being spiritual. And this is really the message that I want to talk about with you today. And I'm not coming to you with any answers. I'm not coming to you with, this is not coming from a place of judgment or admonishment. I'm not trying to tell anybody what to do or how to be or how to experience their journey. That's the last thing I want to do. But this idea of, giving up on being spiritual, or is spirituality over, or, whatever it is, however it is that we're discussing this, it comes from this place of realizing that so many of us get stuck in these ideas of ascension and, spiritual achievement and spiritual enlightenment and getting to 5D or getting to this place or getting to this thing or getting to, it's all this carrot on a stick. And we never get there if we always believe that it is outside of us. And this idea that even spirituality is somehow separate from anything else, right? As if I am spiritual, but those people over there are not. Or this is how I'm spiritual according to these set of rules and regulations, but those people over there are not spiritual. Or this teaching and this information is spiritual and it belongs over here, but it is not for those people over there. That's bullshit. And I think that it's a root of a lot of suffering, is that this idea that we are even separate from our spiritual nature, because it's all spiritual. It's all part of the game. It's all part of the experience. And it creates so much suffering when I believe that somehow there's another place over there that is better than where I am. Or that if I get just one more crystal or one more healing or take one more class or read one more book or get one more reading, or achieve one more level, that I will somehow be taken to this place that will take me out of my experience and plant me in nirvana. These seeking, and the seeking is important. I'm not saying that the seeking is not important, because it is, right? It's the hero's journey, right? You got to get to the top of the mountain. You got to get to see the wizard. You got to visit the shaman. You got to figure out for you what it all means. But if that information does not give you clarity and tools and practical ways of being in your experience now, if you're not going to the top of the mountain to bring it back down to your day-to-day life, then what good is it? It's useless if it's just a puffy, an inspirational poster of a puffy kitty that says, hang in there, that's all it is. If it doesn't amount to you realizing the truth, which is that you've always been powerful. You've always been aligned. You've always been in the flow. You've always been magical. You've always been clear and perfect and healed. It's just, there's a lot of stuff oftentimes on top of that, and that's what the seeking journey does, right? Is it helps us clarify what all the stuff is. But if at the end of that seeking journey, if you do not come to a realization that reminds you of the truth and lets you access that, it's like the Wizard of Oz. Dorothy goes through that whole experience. She finally gets to the top of the mountain. She gets to see the wizard, and he said, girl, you've had the shoes on the whole time. You could have gone home at any time. We did not come to escape our experience. We did not come to try to get out of this humanness. We came to remember the truth. We came to connect to where we are now and to be present now. And at some point, the noise of is it 5D? Is it the Nasara? Is it the reptilians? Is it this dimension? Is it this being? Is it Archangel Michael? Is it the violet flame? Is it the blue ray? Is it the inner earth? Is it the this? It's just noise. It's just noise. The answers are not there. The answers are not in this stuff out here. This stuff out here serves as in its purest and best sense, this stuff out here serves as a way to reflect you back to here. And what if ascension never happens? What if you're in 5D right now? What if you never find out if the earth is flat, or if you're Pleiadian, or if Nasara never happens, or if inner earth, or this or that, or whatever, blah, 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 or who's in the cabal and who's not, all of that. What if it never happens? What if it's another 300 years before you get to that place, right? Then what has it all been for? It's here right now. And this is what we see. Every single metaphor, every single mythological experience of the hero going to the underworld, or seeking the thing, or going to the top of the mountain, or, you know, even the Christ story of the resurrection and the death, and then the, you know, the death and the resurrection, and then coming back down. The answer always is, it's here right now. You've got it within. You've always had the seed. You've always had the ruby slippers. The kingdom of heaven is within. It's always been here. You know, Jill Bolte Taylor, someone, and whoever you are, thank you. I lost the email in my inbox, but the message that you sent me was received, and I checked her out. Jill Bolte Taylor has this book out called My Stroke of Insight, and she's a neuroscientist or a brain scientist, and she basically had an experience. I'll condense the story, but she had a stroke where her left brain was diminished and almost completely shut off for a period of several hours, but she was alive, or she was conscious and aware during the whole thing, because the hemorrhage started out really, really small and slowly grew. So she was completely in her right brain, which is the center for connection and awareness and abstract thought. And it's, you know, the right brain is that creative flow. It's the big picture. It's the, you know, it's the lack of separation. And she had an experience where for several hours, she was completely in the unity consciousness. She basically said, I had found nirvana, and I was in nirvana for like an entire day. And what she was left with is the truth that it's here right now. You've got it inside of you. The level of awareness that you are seeking is present within you now. So stop being spiritual. Stop trying to seek it outside of yourself, because it's here. You know, I've been talking about this with a friend, my friend Ryan Allen, who we're working on the podcast, The Gay Thing, right now. And he and I are going to be recording an episode about this. And he was telling me this morning about an interview that he watched with Terence McKenna, who was in the 60s and did a lot of research through, you know, transcendental meditation and achieving these higher states of consciousness through psychedelics. And he basically kind of said the same thing, that, you know, he's like, it's ridiculous to believe that this idea of enlightenment or, you know, higher levels of consciousness needs to be given to you or granted, because you have it right now. And the seeking is important, because what the seeking shows you is that it's always been here, but the seeking helps you sort of sort through it and get to that nugget of truth and that kernel of clarity. But that's not the point. The seeking is not the point. The point of it is to reach that level of awareness and go, oh my God, I've had the ruby slippers on the whole time. So what do I do with it? What do I do with it now? In this moment right now, I have exactly what I am seeking. I am already powerful. I am already whole. I am already healed, and I always have been. And if my work doesn't remind us of that, if my work doesn't remind you of that as a viewer or someone who follows me or books a session with me, then I have failed. You know, it's like taking a cooking class and reading a cookbook, but never getting into the fucking kitchen and cooking something, right? Like, all of the knowledge in the world doesn't do anything if it doesn't bring you back to this moment right now, to live and to be present within your experience. And yes, the tools are important. And yeah, it might be kind of nice to know if it's Archangel Michael or a Pleiadian or Kuan Yin or blah, blah, or whatever. But it doesn't change a thing if we do not remember that we are here to embody the truth of what we are. We are here to create a conduit for the higher levels of awareness to come down into our experience, so that we merge with them and we carry them with it. My body is a means for consciousness to know itself. My body, my physical human experience, my day-to-day is the way for the human or the soul to know itself and say, oh, I can touch this, I can taste this, I can see it, I can smell it, and I can hear it. You are spirit, and I've said this before, you are the divine grocery shopping. You are the divine sitting on the toilet in the morning doing her business. You are the divine in the lowest of the low and the highest of the high moments of your life. You are never not spiritual. And I'm seeing now that's why I stopped doing doing sessions for a while, and that's why I've stopped doing readings in the way that I used to, because what I see is it's time for me to move beyond anything that puts you out there. Even I'm going to stop this right now because the neighbor's getting ready to mow. So I had to come back inside because the neighbor right next door was firing up the lawnmower, and you wouldn't have heard a word that I said. So what I was saying is that my work is shifting because what I am realizing now over this past several months, and I'm seeing with such clarity now why I went to back to New York. And this is also, I think, in support of the point that I'm saying, is that the journey is always right here. And I didn't need to know why I was going to New York. That didn't matter, because now I have the hindsight and to see how the puzzle pieces are fitting together. But if I had spent the last 5 minutes seeking the why, I would have missed the whole point, which was just to be. And so this is why I'm finding myself reconfiguring my work yet again. And that's why I stopped doing readings in the way that I was doing, because I felt like it was taking people out of where they are now. It was always these questions of what is coming, what's next week, what's 6 months from now, where is my this, where is my that, what do I do? What to do is you're here right now. And even my energy forecast videos, oftentimes I've been feeling lately like this just doesn't really feel like what it should feel like, or something just felt off. It didn't feel like it was allowing me to show up and just be present for you and be present for myself to receive what was here right now. And so I'm finding even those offerings shifting, and I had the soul expansion calls scheduled for September, and I canceled those partly because I just have so much going on, and I was like, you know what, I just can't give the kind of focus to it that I need to give to it this month. But also part of it was feeling like even that does not resonate with what I am called to do. What I am called to do is to, in whatever way that I can, help people focus and anchor into their experience now. Because after all of the crystals and all of the classes and all of the healings and all of the attunements and all of the alignments and all of the energy healing and the this and the that and all of that, which is important. The hero's journey is important. You got to go through it to figure out what it means for you. But if at the end it does not give you a way to embody that, if you are not living that, if you are not out there mixing it up and making it, giving it a shot and trying and failing and falling and getting up and laughing and crying and being in all of that and doing the laundry and shop, going to the grocery store and writing the book and doing whatever it is and taking care of yourself and your kids and your, whatever it is, if this journey does not give us a way to embody that now and to be all of it and to see the truth, which is we are connected to all of it and always have been and always will be, then what is the fucking point? This is not Boy Scouts. This is not Girl Scouts. This is not about a sash with badges that you say, well, now I've achieved the highest level, so there we go. No, you take all that knowledge and you put it to work. You let it be present in your life and you just know it, and you just stop being spiritual and you live. You stop worrying so much about, am I Pleiadian or Canadian or Arcturian or reptilian or a 5D or a 3D or a 12D or a this, or is this the channel? Is it this angel? Is it this, that? It's so much noise. At some point you just got to say, you know what, it doesn't matter because I got a life to live and all of that will sort itself out. And if I know myself to be connected to all that is, and this was the message that came through in the September video, which I've taken away as like this really powerful nugget of truth, this idea of the renewal. What are you taking with you into your life right now? What do you have present in your belief systems right now? Who do you know yourself to be right now? I don't care about yesterday. I don't care about tomorrow. Right now. Are we allowing ourselves to be present and be reborn and be renewed in the moment right now to go, yep, you know what? Okay. So I was happy yesterday and I'm sad today. I was down tomorrow. I'm be down tomorrow and up the next day. It doesn't matter. Just be here right now and live it. Stop being so spiritual. Stop trying to abstract yourself from all that is and say, well, I am this and you are that, and she is not what I am, or he is not what I am, or I am not what they are. So these are the questions that I'm sitting with right now is, what good are the higher states of consciousness if I don't use that knowledge and that awareness to bring it back to my day-to-day and embody it now? And what the hell is the point of a magnificent, powerful spiritual experience where everything is shaken and all of a sudden what I knew I don't know anymore? What good is that if I spend the rest of my life trying to get back up there? Spirituality and these energies and this information, it's not here as an escape. It's not here to take us out of who we are. It's not here to move us away from where we are. It's here to shine a light on the truth. It is here to be something that we can use as a way of being, not as a way of escaping. I've been saying this forever, that none of that stuff matters if you're not actively managing your life. People ask me all the time, why don't you talk about flat earth theory? Why don't you talk about, the reptilians? And why don't you talk about the cabal? And why don't you talk about the this or the that? And I say, it doesn't matter. If I am not actively empowering myself to do what I came here to do, if I'm not standing in my sovereignty and saying, man, I'm a part of all of this, so I'm just going to proceed, it doesn't matter. None of that matters if I am not actively living and being present in my life right now. All of that is irrelevant. Anything that takes me outside of my journey and tells me that it's over there, or that once this thing is gone, or this thing has changed, or this thing has shifted, it's just a distraction. So stop being spiritual. Because you are spirit. You can't not be spiritual. It's like telling a kid to grow up and stop being human. They're just a different level of awareness of human. They're just at a different phase in their development, but they're always a human. Unless they're Pleiadian. Or Canadian. And that's a joke. I'm not saying Canadians aren't human. Calm down. So that's where I am right now, and that's why you're going to see changes coming in my work, in my offerings. That's why you're going to see a lot of the things that you have come to expect from me are not going to be present in the same way. I may never do the soul expansion calls again. I may never do another energy update video or forecast video. I don't know. I am still doing the energy work because to me, the energy work is about opening up a connection to that energy and letting it in, so that you can embody it and integrate it now, and just letting it be present. And as it creates shifts in awareness through our presence, that feels, true to me. But I'm not interested in talking about what's going to happen in 6 months from now, because that's irrelevant if I'm using that as a way to try to escape where I am currently. So at some point, we just got to get rid of everything we know. We got to let it all go and realize that, girl, you've been wearing the ruby slippers the whole damn time. So that's where I am right now. And I just wanted to give you this update, and I wanted to start sharing these questions and just sort of give you an insight into what's happening, because it feels pretty profound to me. And it feels to me like the next step. It feels like the next level of evolution is the realization that, oh, this separation is an illusion. This experiment of limitation is over, and we're now getting back to who we are. So when I am standing in my sovereignty and I am standing in the truth of who I am, and I'm emerging as this next level experience, and I'm emerging as this divine human self, which I don't have to seek, it just happens, then I realize that, oh, I've always been what I was seeking. So why do I have to be spiritual anymore? Because I just am. And you are. And it is. So that's it. I'd love to hear your feedback. I'd love to hear your comments. Share below what you think. I hope that this strikes a chord with you. It may alienate some of you. It may disappoint some of you, and that can't be helped. I love you. Thank you for watching. Take care.